On everybody, happy Tuesday and welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. I tried to do the John Pemba there. It wasn't as good as my friend John. As you can see, my friend John isn't here today. I am James Grande. I will be hosting today and introducing a new member of the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS team. Right before the trade deadline, we have acquired the rights to Terrell Furman Jr. You can find him on Twitter at reallyRel _. Shout out to _ gang because I am also part of the _ gang. Even though mine are separated, the underscore has been a hot topic of debate in my name for a while. Our very own Howard Bender has been asking me to remove the _ for a while. So I'm happy to have another _ member part of the team. Terrell, what's going on, man? Happy to have you part of the squad.
Yeah, hey, I'm happy to be here, and I'm not happy to be a part of _ gang either. But it's what's needed. It's what's needed because the official Really Rail is a guy that has 11 followers and following 11 people. He's been online since 2009, and his account is private. So the account's just sitting there with my name. It's free. I've been watching him for all this time, waiting for him just to delete the account or to X, formerly known as Twitter X, to delete the account, and it's still sitting here. He's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if anybody knows Terrell from Milwaukee, then please ask him if I can have that name so I can get rid of the double underscores, because I personally don't like them either. But I got to deal with it.
That's a hilarious. That's hilarious because that's exactly what's happened to me. The Real Grande is also has been taken from me, and they have 4 tweets, and one of them started as like an introductory tweet, and then the next 3 were all about. They tried to switch to an Ariana Grande fan account, or they tried to be Ariana Grande, and that obviously neither of those things are true. Yeah, so I'm just stuck here with the double underscore. But you know what? As long as the fake Ariana Grande has it, so be it. We move on, and we move on to a 6-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel tonight. Of course, they removed the best game of the slate tonight in Milwaukee and Phoenix in the late night hammer. That is not a part of the DraftKings main slate. So let's get into some news and notes prior to diving into the main slate. Let's take a look at some Vegas lines here, Terrell. What's something of note for tonight's main slate in Las Vegas?
Oh, of note. Well, you got to pay attention to the 4.5 point line move that's going on. Well, really 4 point line move. I'm sorry. That was going on in the total of the Houston Rockets and the Indiana Pacers game. And so you have a Houston Rockets team that's 500, kind of still trying to figure out their footing and where they're at in the league. They got off to a really hot start. And then similar to how Udoka was in that 2022 run, where they in the Boston Celtics were 500, less than 500 at All-Star break, and then went on a run and ended up finishing as one of the top seeds in the East and went on to the NBA Finals that year. That's kind of where you see this team now. Not saying that they're going to have the second half of the season that Boston team had, but now they've kind of hit a wall. And no Fred VanVleet tonight, so we'll see some Amen Thompson. We expect to see more points scored in this one because, of course, Indiana's playing, and Indiana does care about defense. So that's one of the big things that I noticed, is that 4 point line move on the total there. So I'm going to be targeting that game, thinking that I might see some more points than normal in that one. And then the other big line move is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Open up -1, now currently -3.5. So much so, I think the line is technically off the board right now. They continue to push this line towards OKC, even though money's coming in on Utah here. So a little bit of reverse line movement. Everybody's expecting OKC. Well, at least the sharp bettors that are playing OKC are expecting OKC to roll tonight. And it could be because Utah has one of the worst defenses in the league. And while they are a really, really good team, they're fun to watch. Jordan Clarkson, Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, like, it's a fun team to watch. They've been in trade rumors, DeJounte Murray. They've been talking about Lauri Markkanen leaving the team, all of this stuff. And yet they can't play defense effectively. And so it looks like odd makers, sharps, they're looking at this OKC team and saying, hey, they might actually roll here on the road.
Plus, Jalen Williams,
back in the lineup.
not with a Y, because both Jalen Williams actually on the injury report tonight. The one they have coined J Dub,
Yep.
is went through shoot around this morning. Looks like poised for a return. We'll see about Jalen with a Y, if he plays tonight. But both Jalen Williams showing up in the injury report, so I believe that also played a little part in it. We have some comments here from the Fantasy Alarm House account. Let's go, Terrell making his debut. Salute to
Appreciate
FA
y'all.
Nation and to Terrell. Rick chiming in, welcoming you, Terrell. DePrince, one of our loyal. I'm surprised, DePrince, that you're on time tonight, because usually, that's you and cordial arrivals are not best friends. But alas, DePrince is on time, and he
Hey
is
man,
welcome. Yeah,
hey,
he's
don't throw shots at us folks that be fashionably late around here. We not
fashionably
gonna
late.
bring me on here and throw shots at those people that be fashionably late. It's cool, to Prince. I know how it is. I know how it is.
Since becoming a dad, I also have joined that crew. So like I'm taking shots at my own as well. Like that is me. I am not on
It's
time.
hard to be on time, man.
It very is. It is. It is. I learned that from my mother, and as a parent, it has become even more apparent. But yeah, those are the Vegas lines. Nothing really significant. Well, I shouldn't say that. On the injury front, Luka Doncic was obviously downgraded to questionable midday. We had
Mhm.
some Brooklyn news. Cam Johnson rather was officially ruled out. We kind of had word last night that he was going to,
Yeah.
unlikely, and with Cam Johnson's injury history, that seemed likely on the second leg of a back-to-back that he was questionable, more towards the doubtful side. Tyler Hero available to play. Duncan Robinson available to play. Nothing really else of significance. So you ready to get into tonight's main slate, Terrell?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's break it down position by position, like we do, and we'll start off at point guard, where I think point guard is the most loaded position, at least on at the top of the position tonight,
Mhm.
with the likes of Luka Doncic if he plays, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Jalen Brunson. If you and you know what, we'll include Tyrese Halliburton and Kyrie Irving into this equation as well. If you assess like the top five names at point guard tonight, how would you break them down for tonight's main slate?
Well, I think the number one name that sticks out to me, and it has to, is Shea Gilgis Alexander. And it's really hard not to follow Shea in this spot, because you look and he's getting this Utah team that, again, I love Utah. If people don't know, I love Utah basketball. They have made me a cash cow from last season to this season. They're like, they made me so much money that I love this Utah team, and I hate when I get opportunities where I have to fade them. But SGA is arguably the MVP of the league right now. Arguably, you can make the case that between him and Jokic, with now the 65 game rule, one of those two are MVP of the league right now. And so you look at what this Utah team is doing guarding the point guard position and how good they've been, or lack thereof, I should say, is that, bottom five, fourth in terms of points allowed to the point guard position in the last 7 games. I break it down by the last 7 games because I want to see how these teams are doing now. I don't care how you've been defending the point guard in the beginning of the season when you had 2-3 people on your roster that are either hurt or not there anymore. I
Right.
want to know how you're doing it now, and how they're doing it now. They're struggling with the point guard position. We know Shea can get to the line. We know that he can drive in the basket, and we know that he's good on both ends. He's a two-way player, and nobody wants to admit that. And that's why I feel like he's MVP over Jokic, because Shea is not only doing everything offensively, but he's leading the league in steals. And so that's an opportunity that I want as well. When you look at the backcourt and just some of the inexperience, even though they've been playing well all season, you still got Keontae George in that backcourt. You still got Colin Sexton in that backcourt, who, while he's been in the league some time, he's missed a lot of time due to injury. He's due for turnovers. Jordan Clarkson tries to make a play. He can turn the ball over. Like, I think this is a good opportunity for SGA to get turnovers, good opportunity for him to be able to score inside the paint and get easy looks at the basket. SGA, he's a very, very chalky option, but I have to look at him for number one.
I agree. And this is a matchup between two teams, top 10 in pace, and Utah's bottom 10 in defense. All the
Mhm.
stars are aligned. Plus, we don't know officially if Jalen Williams is going to play. He is trending towards playing. We also don't know how Mark Daigneault handles Jalen Williams' return. Is he limited? We know Daigneault has never been shy to play a bunch of guys and limit
Uh-huh.
players upon returning. So I agree. I will say if Luka plays, like never a problem getting to Luka Doncic. He has,
Yep.
he scored 73 points in a basketball game. That has been done 4 times ever. So like if you want to play Luka, if there's going to be enough value, we're going to talk about it with 2 teams, maybe 3 in particular. And then salute to Jalen Brunson,
Mhm.
dude. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan, so I've gone through the Tom Thibodeau thing, and I watched my favorite player, Luol Deng, just get run down and never be the
Never
same. And
known of again.
yeah, and like now the Knicks have also ruled out Jericho Sims, a guy who's been playing it. They are going to play 5 starters 40 minutes tonight. Jalen
Uh-huh.
Brunson played 45 minutes in a regulation game.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's really hard not to look at that and say if this game is at all competitive, that Jalen Brunson doesn't again play 45 minutes. So salute to I would say all 3 of those guys. I think there's no bad option. I too would have SGA number 1 of
Uh-huh.
this tier. How would it change for you if Luka was to be ruled out? Would Kyrie enter that upper
Yeah,
tier
I
for
feel like he
you?
has to. I feel like he has to.
Agreed.
When I mean, you have a bunch of things going well for Kyrie tonight. And number one is the fact that he has the revenge game in Brooklyn. And so you get all the feels. This is his first time back in Brooklyn. Last week was Kevin Durant's first time back in Brooklyn. They talked all big about, hey, are we giving Kevin Durant a tribute video? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? Kevin Durant beats them to the punch and be like, yo, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. And why did he say that? Because he knew that Kyrie wasn't getting the video, regardless if they asked Kyrie or not. They knew Kyrie wasn't getting no video next week. So he said, you know what? Y'all not about to do my boy like that. Give me a video, not give him a video the next week. So you know what? Just scratch my video. Don't do my video. I don't want a video. And Kyrie knows this, man. Kyrie knows this. He knows that they were trying to get out of getting him. Why nobody mentioned Kyrie getting a video, huh? Why Kyrie don't get mentioned for no video? Everybody else in the league getting a video. We sit here, we look around the league. All these people get Campaign. I guess Campaign got a video. I mean, look, Alex Caruso getting a video. Everybody in the league that don't matter getting a video. And now we don't want to talk about Kyrie getting a video today. Kyrie's going crazy today. And if Luka gets out of his way, Kyrie is able to be the alpha because Kyrie has finally found himself in the point of his career where he's perfectly fine being number 2. He was fine being number 2 to LeBron, fine being number 2 to KD, fine being number 2 to Luka. And that's why his numbers have gone down, is because he is willingly deferring to Luka. But when Luka was out, Kyrie was a dog, and he showed us and he proved it. So this is the opportunity. I'm telling you, you look at points inside the paint, the Nets terrible at guarding points inside the paint over the past 5 games. They are bottom 5 and actually dead last in the past 3 games in terms of points inside the paint. That's where Kyrie gets busy. That's where Kyrie goes to work. I think Kyrie has an exceptional day if Luka is out. So if Luka's done, I'm perfectly fine pivoting Kyrie. If Luka's in, I'm kind of iffy because I don't really like Luka and Kyrie together. But if I'm getting one or the other, I am perfectly fine building my lineup around one of those 2 players.
I'm gonna raise my hand and say if I'll happily be a second option averaging 25, 5, and 5. I don't know
I
about you,
mean,
but
it's a
I'll
lot.
raise
It's some second options out there that aren't averaging anything close to that.
I
So,
know. I will gladly raise my hand. And to your point, I mean, this stretch right here, 40 minutes, 40 minutes, 40 minutes, 39 minutes,
mhm,
35, 33, 34. That was sans Luka Doncic. So
mhm,
love Kyrie. I would probably put him per dollar, maybe number 1 play of the slate tonight if Luka were to sit. We don't know about the nose. I saw the shot that he took last night, but he played
mhm.
through it afterwards. So we'll see how Luka's faring. Maybe we'll get a masked Luka in Brooklyn tonight. We'll see. Um, what about below Kyrie? Anything stand out to you? Kobe White is probable to play this game. Very
Mhm.
tough matchup against Minnesota. Cam Thomas. I mean, like
Uh,
I can never be mad about playing a guy. I played Cam Thomas last night. Obviously 4 for 21. I will
yeah.
never be mad about playing a guy that flops going for because he took 21 shots. Like he took 21 shots. Had a
You're
bad
only
night.
made four. Like you're supposed to do way better than that. I feel it.
Right.
I understand it. It's just I'm not getting much more. He has to have a really good scoring day. If he doesn't,
Correct.
then is basically can't. That's basically it. The only other point guard way down further on the list that I'm really interested in. I'm really excited, honestly. Amen Thompson today.
Oh yeah. I
Let
mean,
me
you.
read you. Let me read you his fantasy points in games that he's gotten 20 or more minutes
Okay.
this year. And this year, I mean 2024. He has 20, 21.8, 24 minutes, 38.8, 23 minutes, 36.5, 32 minutes, 42.5, 25 minutes, 32.5. He's absolutely a dog when he gets into that 20 minutes or more category. And now Fred VanVleet is out and he's expected to make the start tonight.
Yep.
We might get a really good Amen Thompson game against a poor Indiana defense that's giving up. Excuse me, I don't want to be a liar here because you tell me one thing, but I'm not going to be a liar. And they're giving up about they're struggling. Let me see here. Where's this Indiana Pacers team? There we go. Giving about 49.17 points to the guard position, the point guard position that is per game. It's not towards the top of the league, but it's definitely not towards the bottom. I think this is a good opportunity where Amen Thompson can have a really good solid game defensively, be able to get some things going defensively, and his side of the ball, rebounding, scoring, all of that. I think that can do really good for Amen Thompson today. So I'm excited. I'm playing Amen Thompson tonight.
Yeah, you, me, and 80% of our best friends are all playing Amen
Oh, I
Thompson.
said
And
80%.
he is projected to be the highest rostered player of the slate. It's a great play. In that Boston, so the Boston game was the last time we saw Van Vliet miss,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Amen Thompson starting over Aaron Holiday, who did have a good game in his own right. But
Mm-hmm.
Amen Thompson started 32 minutes, 14 rebounds, as you mentioned, 15, 14, 5, and a steal,
Mm-hmm.
42 DraftKings points in his start in the Fred VanVleet steed. So I'm
Okay.
right there. I'm right there with you. I think Amen Thompson is one of the first plugs in all lineups, cash games for sure, tournaments for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I'm interested though. Would you in a tournament pivot to someone like Aaron Holiday, who obviously doesn't have the ceiling? I think
Yeah.
we can both agree does not have the ceiling that Amen Thompson has. But in that Boston game, he did play 27 minutes off the bench. Now, second leg of a back-to-back, they were much more short-handed than they are tonight.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bunch of pieces missing. He came off the bench, but he had 26 fantasy points. Like, he's been a very reliable backup point guard for Ime Udoka all year.
Mm-hmm.
He's also $3,300. Like, he's very close to min salary. Is there any like tournament appeal to pivoting off of Amen? Even I won't even say pivoting off of Amen Thompson, like playing them both in the same lineup.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, honestly, truly, if we just pivot off Amen entirely, because as much as I love Amen Thompson, I don't like playing the same play as everybody else because I want to
Right.
win. And it's the same logic, but a different player, and that's Jalen Green. Why not talk about Jalen Green today? I mean, Fred VanVleet's going out, so we have one less playmaker. What if this just completely goes from team basketball to Jalen Green going back to his roots of, nah, just give me the ball and I'm gonna score. No, I don't care. I don't care what you're saying. Just give me the ball. I have 33 times in the past 5 games. I don't care what you're talking about. I'm gonna score. And I'm gonna go score. Seriously. I mean, there's a possibility that that could be this, thinking about how bad Indiana's been defensively all year. They've struggled guarding any type of what position all year. Rick Carlisle's teams do not profile as defensive teams. And it's so funny when he goes to the media and says, man, we could have played better defense right there. You don't coach it. You don't coach it. How about you coach defense before expecting them to play it in the final 2 minutes of a game after you didn't play it for the first 46? Like, I just don't understand. So now you look again, last 5 games for Jalen Green, night and day, pretty much like his NBA career. 8 points, 14 points, 31, 34, 19, 36. Last 6 games, 36. Game before that, 29. He absolutely can score. And then look at the teams he's scoring against. He's scoring against New Orleans. Okay. All right. They only had 99 points for the game. So that's pretty solid. LA, haven't been that good defensively. Nothing really to write home, talk to mom about. Charlotte, definitely not good defensively. Nothing to write home talk to mom about. Portland, definitely not good defensively. Now you're getting a team that's not good defensively here. This could be a
Right.
Jalen Green game. So if you're looking to pivot and you want to take your stab at a cheap Aaron Holiday or a Jalen Green that it just seems like nobody's talking about, then absolutely, because I think Jalen Green could 100% be in the 25 plus point range today.
So Jalen Green, sans Fred VanVleet, leads the team in usage bump, 6.3% usage rate increase to a team leading 33.8% usage rate while putting up 1.1 fantasy points per minute. So pencil Jalen Green in for a big day and move on from your lineups. I will just give shouts just quickly before we move on to shooting guard to possibly a Memphis point guard. We don't know what the status
Which
of.
one? Which one are you talking about? It's like a million of them that just come out
Well,
the woodworks from the G
right.
League. It's a million of them that just come out the woodworks from the G League and then end up starting in NBA games.
So like I don't know what this is. It may not matter because Derrick Rose. If Derrick Rose plays, I think that muddies the waters up. Same thing goes for
Yeah.
Luke Kennard. If Rose and Kennard both play, I mean I know Kennard's in, but if Rose also plays,
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably not playing Scottie Pippen or Gilliard. But if Rose sits, I would probably play the starter. As we get word here, Ben Mathurin of the Indiana Pacers officially ruled out tonight.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
he was a midday downgrade with the illness, now officially out. So
That's
that
gonna hurt
may open
Indiana's
up some
scoring.
minutes. Yeah, that's going to hurt Indiana's the wing room in general. Probably an extension, and we can we still are awaiting the word on Tyrese Halliburton as well. He is listed questionable with the hamstring management. So let's move on to shooting guard, where Ben Mathurin would have resided, but no longer does. I would say the top of the list, guys we already mentioned, Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Edwards, I think, is fine, $8,400.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty slow paced matchup in general. Where Chicago struggles the most is 3-point shooting, 3-point defense. So if you think Edwards knocks down a bunch of threes tonight, that's fine. Kobe White, I like the eligibility. Hate the spot. Probably have to go back to the well with Dante DiVincenzo tonight. He has taken 15 or more 3-point attempts in 4 consecutive games.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that is shooting the 3 ball with that much volume while playing 40 minutes catches my eye. What say you, Terrell?
Oh man, I have no issue with Dante DiVincenzo. I have no issue with anybody that wants to play anybody with the New York Knickerbockers jersey on, and it's not because I'm a fan. I actually hate the team, to be honest, but that just comes with being a fan for the New York Knicks for as long as
Right.
I've been. It's hard to
Right.
get excited about good years. However, in this game, my issue is that I don't know if we're going to get 48 minutes because I'm not
Sure.
certain if we'll get 30. I'm not
14 and a
certain
half
if
point
we'll get
spread.
30. And ultimately, this Memphis team was very, very scrappy. And there was so many times when you look at the 2 weeks before this, where you're getting a large line with Memphis, cash, cash, cash. Memphis is keeping it close, keeping it close, keeping it close. And it's because Taylor Jenkins is a good coach and he got a bunch of second and third stringers to play to the level of his starters, especially on the defensive end. Very, very good. However, the injuries have gotten so bad that now his second and third stringers are out and he's playing third, fourth G Leaguers in this game and expecting them to have the production against NBA level talent that's been playing all year. No, it's not going to happen. I don't care how good of a coach you are. It's not happening. So, yes, you're going to struggle. This Knicks team is coming off of a loss, the first one in 9 games or whatever that streak was. And so you look at their last game against Golden State, which they covered 2 weeks ago. Didn't cover now because now they got G Leaguers starting in the lineup. You have the game against Boston, absolutely got destroyed, even though it's 14 and a half and it's a really, really large spread. I just don't know how long Memphis is going to be into this game. And if they're not in the game long, that may ruin the minutes usage. Like the other week when I had Jalen Brunson and he didn't end up playing the fourth quarter. Like, I don't know how much usage you're going to get out of the players for the entirety of the game. So if you told me this was a close game, I would tell you to start the entire Knicks roster. But I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think the Knicks are going to roll, and you're going to be talking at one point in the third quarter of sweating of like, man, I really hope this time when he pulls Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, or X out, that I get to see them come back in the game, and it's not for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it was a little bit of sticker shock to see him at 7,400 to begin with. and now you're talking about a 14.5 point spread. I don't disagree. And that's some good tournament leverage because Dante DiVincenzo checking in as one of the three most highest rostered players of tonight's slate. So,
Yeah. So, like,
um,
is he going to have a bad game? No, I'm not predicting having a bad game, but is he going to finish the game, thus making
yeah,
his good game a bad
right,
game?
right.
Possibly. Possibly
Uh,
not.
Well, what else do we like at shooting guard here? If it's not DiVincenzo, we have the likes of Mikal Bridges, who's pretty popular tonight. We've already talked about Jalen Green. Both of us are very high on Jalen Green.
Hmm.
Colin Sexton, the minutes are just incredibly unpredictable, but when he does play 30 plus minutes, there's a high ceiling. What else do we like at shooting guard today, Terrell?
So, one name that I'm kind of teetering here, and I'll bounce it off of you. But if he gets the minutes and Luca is not playing tonight, Tim Hardaway Jr. should be an option. And the duo of Tim Hardaway Jr. and Kyrie Irving, when they were the only two shows in town, and they were holding this thing down for Dallas for however X many games, it felt like if one wasn't scoring, the other was scoring. If one wasn't doing the work, if the other one was doing work. If one wasn't getting the assist, the other was getting the assist. If one wasn't help carrying and doing the work defensively, then the other was doing it. See, he has multiple games of 2 steals in the past 10 games. He uh does a large majority of the scoring workload when Luka is out. He has 30-point games, he has 40-point games. Like, he has all of this. So it just seems like he's probably one of those people that, yeah, it's Tim Hardaway Jr. He's not the quote unquote sexy name. He's not the big name that you're talking about. There's a little bit of a price attached to him, but he has a really good matchup against a Brooklyn team that's struggling against the shooting guard / small forward position. And I think that he can bounce back and be able to have a really, really good scoring day against this Brooklyn team. So I expect to see a lot of points in this game. I think this is an over game, which is rare for Brooklyn, but I don't think that Brooklyn's going to be able to get a stop defensively. And it's going to be more of Brooklyn being able to score on Dallas rather than Dallas being able to hold Brooklyn. So, yeah, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is a nice little play here at $6,400.
I think that there's definitely contingencies attached to Tim Hardaway, and you mentioned
Yep.
it right off the start.
Luca.
It's Luca, and I shouldn't say contingencies. I should just say contingency. It's literally Luka Doncic. Tim Hardaway does get the biggest usage bump on the team, more than Kyrie Irving, when
Mhm.
Luka, Dante Exum, and Derek Lively the second are off the floor. So I'm good with THJ, even though he deaded me in a Chipotle one time or another. You know, we don't need to talk about that. I've talked about that enough on the show. You know, no biases. No biases, Tim Hardaway.
Yeah.
No, I was just trying to get a burrito. You were just trying to get a burrito. You know, it's all good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I haven't held on to that for like 10 years. Don't worry.
What?
Don't worry. Don't worry. I haven't. This doesn't matter. What else at shooting guard? I do think there's some interesting names. Like if Jalen Williams, and we don't have any official update, if Jalen Williams were to sit, there's a lot of players listed on the OKC injury report. We saw what
Yep.
Josh Giddey did the other day. He's 5,900. If you were to ever tell me no Jalen Williams for a
Josh
5,900,
Giddey almost had a
yeah.
triple-double last time in Utah.
Mhm.
And I'm not here to create any conspiracy theories, but there's a former player in Utah
Oh no.
That Josh Giddey might have a lot of ties to, and he may have a lot of the same views on. And so
Fair. This is
I
fair.
I'm just saying, when we talked about this the last time Utah was here, Josh Giddey was a play for that sole reason, and he ended up with 20, 10, and 8. So I'm not going to rule Josh Giddey out today. I think Josh Giddey can have a pretty solid day. And if you look a little bit more into the weeds, Utah struggles against the guard position. They're giving up scoring, giving up rebounding, giving up assists. Like, they're giving up the little things. And those are all the little things that Josh Giddey does for his team. Like that, those are all the little running the grunt things that he does for his team. And now he's going to get the minutes. Josh Giddey was kind of topping out at 25 minutes with everybody playing in the lineup. Like, everybody in the lineup, he's topping out about 25 minutes. Now you're talking about potentially no Jalen Williams, potentially who else? No
Isaiah Joe's
Isaiah
out.
Joe's out. And so
Um,
it's like the door is open for just an increase of minutes in Josh Giddey. And if you increase his minutes, he does all the little things that you want for that team in terms of rebounding, assists, even trying to get after on the defensive end. Even though he's basically a long cone on defense, he still tries and able to come up with the steal or two here. So yeah, I like Josh Giddey today. I think Josh Giddey actually does have a pretty decent day, and this is a home game for him.
Uh, Welcome, Terrell, everybody. Welcome, Terrell.
Hello, all.
He's going to fit in.
Am I
perfectly.
never coming back now?
No, no. You fit in so perfectly. That means you haven't listened to any time we've talked about Miles Bridges on the show. So you fit in perfectly on the show. Mr. Polo Cash, welcoming you to the show. We had John is sitting in the chat here, even though he has no power. He's making bets over there. Josh Green for the first made 3-pointer at a plus 11.
Hey, I love it. Josh Green's my guy. Hey, I could sell. I'm always could sell myself on Josh Green coming off the bench, like always. And he probably actually might.
He's been starting. He's been starting. Yep. He's been starting. So
there was a run last year where Josh Green was going for 20. I think like 3, 4, 5 games in a row or something like that. And so I always know it's there. And he's just super efficient. Like when you go look at his shooting numbers when he was like just scrapping for time off of the Mavs bench. He's like a 50, 40, 90 guy. So yeah, I could always go for a Josh Green prop.
Mr. Polo Cash, I fully agree. Smash the like button. All 41 of you guys, please. It would help us tremendously. Yep. Also, if you don't already subscribe, please hit that subscribe button as well. We go live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's all 5 days of the week. 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we have a preview show every Monday through Friday as well. That comes out the night before. You can catch it in the morning whenever you want. Morning coffee, afternoon lunch, whatever you're doing. We have both those shows every single day. Let's get back to the shooting guard position because we like Josh Giddey on the court, specifically on the court. Like preface that by saying on the court.
Carson Wallace too.
Casey Wallace he's also questionable. Lindy Waters questionable with the G League assignment. Micic is there also the backup point guard. He's also there's a lot of questionable tags in OKC tonight, which is why I do think the Giddey play and potentially Casey Wallace would be in play because we'd see Casey Wallace start most likely if Jalen Williams were to sit. That's just been the Thunder MO. What else? There is some popular value tonight. Dennis Smith Jr. is one of them. With a shorthanded Brooklyn team. We know Lonnie Walker's out. We know Cameron Johnson's out. Played 31 minutes last night. Now Ben Simmons is returning. They have been using Ben Simmons kind of as the backup 5 when, staggering him with Nick Claxton. Do you think Smith could approach 30 minutes here? And do you think he's worth the value at 4,200?
I mean, I'm not going to get mad at you for taking somebody 4,200 in here. Like, I'm not going to, you're taking a stab at hoping that, Dennis Smith Jr., that his defensive game shows up on the stat sheet today because he's actually been very, very good on defense this season. Like, really, really underrated defender this season. And so you're hoping that shows up in forms of steals on the stat sheet this week. You look, and I think in the last 3 games, he has double-digit steals. So you're really hoping that pulls up on the stat sheet. You're hoping that he limits the turnovers and that he's able to score a little bit. But the thing with Ben, and why I think I'm leaning a little bit more to playing with Ben is because Ben is so committed to not scoring that he forces himself to do everything else. Like he's so committed to not scoring that I'm going to get at least 7 assists tonight because I'm not going to score. You're not going to look at my stat sheet and see 2-3-2 up there. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to force myself to have a bunch of assists, a bunch of rebounds, all of these other things, because I actually truly do not want to score the basketball and I have to make myself known somewhere else. That's why Ben is always so interesting. And the fact that he could have 42 fantasy points in 18 minutes of work in his return, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know what to say. And then look at what Ben was doing before that. Like before the injury, 26.3 fantasy points in 33 minutes, 28.3 in 33 minutes, 25.3 in 34 minutes, 38 and 35, 43 and 32. Like he was putting up some pretty solid numbers. And now it's like with the fact that Spencer Dinwiddie is arguably bottom 3 worst players in the league right now.
Correct.
And you have all the injuries and you're on a back-to-back and all these people aren't playing. The reason they didn't play Ben was so that he could play this game. Why would you not unleash him? Like, why would you not unleash him if you didn't play him on the front end of a back-to-back so he could play this game in a back-to-back? That means you plan on giving him the full workload. So I'm actually not really. I mean, is he going to play 30 plus minutes? Probably not, but he should be in the 25-minute range. I'm going to play some Ben Simmons today.
I'm definitely more on the skeptical side with the minutes, just because it was the back again, and the back has been something that's given him trouble for, dating back to whenever this all the injury related stuff started. So I'm definitely in agreement where I think he could hit 20. I don't know if he sniffs much more than that, but he doesn't need to. If you get to
Yeah.
Ben Simmons, he doesn't need to. So let's
Especially
move on
if he's
to
playing that backup big. Like
yep,
that's a bunch of rebounds
yep.
there, block opportunities. Like, yeah.
And Dallas backup big right now is Dwight Powell. So it's not the worst matchup for him. At small forward, we have Lauri Markkanen, who I proposed in a trade earlier in the year to OKC. I think that would be a perfect fit. So maybe playing for his future team here. Pascal Siakam checks in at 8,300. DeRozan 76. Jimmy Butler 75. We've talked about Bridges and Franz Wagner 71. Any of those guys stand out to you, Terrell?
I
You could
really
say
want to
no.
back. I want to back
No.
Pascal. Yeah, I want to back Pascal. He just makes it tough sometimes, but I do want to back Pascal in this game just because one, I talked about this is the highest total on the board. It's gone. The line movement has gone up. I want as many pieces of this Houston Indiana game as I can get a hold of. And Houston, not necessarily known for their inside the paint defense. They're not really known as a great team, not the worst, but not really a great team inside the paint. And I really want to see, especially we'll get the final word on Hallie very, very soon on if Hallie's able to go. But
Right.
I really want to see Hallie and Pascal in that pick and roll and see that just flourish into something great, because I think it really can be really, really good with those two on the offensive end. So I think Pascal have a pretty solid day, but outside of that, not really too interested in anybody in that top tier of shooting small forward today.
So I'm in on Franz Wagner a little bit here.
38
Miami,
yesterday.
yeah, coming off 38, and this has obviously been a massive step forward in the Franz Wagner career this year. And this matchup that Miami has completely owned over the last, I think they're 8-0 in their last 8 meetings with Orlando. This is not the same Miami team. They're 2-8 over their last 10 games, and during that span, they're 21st in defensive rating as a team. I love some Orlando pieces. It's really hard to like. This is the healthiest Orlando's been all year, and
Yeah.
we saw Jamal Mosley is not afraid to just disperse everyone's minutes. It's Paolo, it's Franz, and then everyone else is liable for like 12 to 30 minutes, and you just really don't know. But with Wagner, you're getting big minutes now that we're kind of past this ankle sprain. 35 and 36 minutes the last 2 games. Obviously, you mentioned he's coming off 38 actual. He's great peripherally as well. So I love the price for Franz Wagner. 4 straight games of 37 plus fantasy points. Like 7,100 is a really good price against a Miami team that just doesn't know its identity right now. It doesn't know its identity since the Rozier trade. Didn't know it really before the Rozier trade either. Your best player is in the midst of a 70-track country album. And you're the best player to start the season has not found his rhythm with the new acquisition of Terry Rozier and since Tyler Hero's come back and Bam Adebayo. So it's not been smooth sledding for Miami. So I like Franz Wagner at 71. Below him is where I think things may get a little interesting. We do have some guys we've talked about in Tim Hardaway and Ben Simmons. We have Josh Hart, who you've already alluded to. Like, yeah, if you know that this game's going to be at all competitive, it doesn't have to be like overly competitive for Thibodeau to be nervous. Like he starts getting that like crackhead itch where he's like, oh, it's 17. I got to get the starters back out there. And then you see like the starters back in 17-point game. So as long as it's not 20, I still think Josh Hart has a pretty solid floor in terms of minutes. We don't know if Vince Williams is going to play. 6,100, random price drop on him. What about Aaron Nesmith for you? $5,700.
Yep.
He's been really, really good this year, and especially lately. Now no Ben Mather, and the minutes seem even more secure. Any interest in Nesmith at 5,700?
It's either Neesmith or Buddy Hield for me. It's one or
Okay.
the other. But I want another piece in that game that's a little bit further down on the depth chart, and that's going to take over the Ben Matherin 6-man minutes and that scoring because they're going to need a scorer coming off of the bench there that's going to help them out. And it's like Neesmith's been playing pretty well. Unfortunately, for Neesmith, he really plays his best games against Boston, so that that kind of rules things out there. He somehow feels the need to go out there against Boston and have a really good game again. 28.5 fantasy points, 21 fantasy points, 57. Like he really. So I really wish he was playing Boston tonight. It would be an automatic lock if he was playing Boston, but I still think that this is a really good matchup for him, and especially with the now open and Ben Matherin minutes, because a lot of what he does is the same thing Ben Matherin does. Ben Matherin just does it as a higher clip, and is getting to the rim, is forcing teams to put him on the foul line, and is impacting the game like that, and doing all the nitty gritty things, the rebounding, playmaking, all of that, defensively, getting the steals. Like Aaron Neesmith, if there's a prop that people bet of this person to have one block, one steal, one assist, like one that crazy prop bet.
Yep.
That is a pretty solid bet for Aaron Neesmith because he tends to go out there and try to put up a steal, try to put up a block, try to go out there, rebound, assist, get points, do all of that. That's really, really good for fantasy. So I think Aaron Neesmith is actually the person that you should be looking to pivot to in this game.
We just got word Fred VanVleet expected to miss at least 4 games. So that is a
Okay.
tough blow for the Houston. So we'll see the future of the Houston Rockets tonight, and what they're going to do the rest of the week without
Amon
Amen.
Thompson, Cam Whitmore, this is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to show the
Speaking
league.
speaking of the aforementioned Cam Whitmore, who was the steal of the draft at the pick that he was taken. Um, yeah, he is an absolute bucket. Now the question is,
Mm-hmm.
does he get extended? I mean, it's not just Van Vliet missing; they're still missing Tari Eason, so 2 of their top 6
Yep.
essentially are out. Right? What do you make of Whitmore tonight? 4,600. I've been saying this all season long. You give him minutes, he is going to shoot the basketball. He is
Yep.
a bucket getter. It doesn't matter how young he is, rookie, that he just gets buckets is what. And people, he fell in the draft because people didn't like his attitude or thought his work ethic was what it was. Well,
Yep.
he lined up with the best coach for that he possibly probably could have in Ime Udoka. Do we think Whitmore could get over this like 18 to 20-minute hump tonight? And like, what's your expectation for him from a fantasy perspective tonight?
Yeah, I think that he can. And I think that especially if he's shooting the ball and he's effective shooting the ball against Indiana, I don't know how you don't play him the minutes. And look at what he's been doing the past few games. And this is just field goal attempts 13, 17, 12, 12, 16, 18, 10. Like that's a lot of attempts for somebody coming off of the bench. He's shooting a bunch of threes. So it's like, all right, when's the day that he's gonna get going from 3? And those are gonna be 3 for 8, 3 for 7, 3 for 7, 2 for 6, 3 for 7, 4 for 9. When's the day he's gonna finally open up and get going from 3? That's gonna help his percentage a little bit more. That's really the thing, is that he's gonna jump shoot, he's gonna take the shots, he's gonna go out there and not necessarily try to score inside the paint, but score outside the paint. And that's where you got to look at this Indiana team and what is their ability of scoring, of defending outside the paint over the past few games. And are they going to be able to hold him to a low total there? Indiana last 3 games in terms of opponents' 3-point percentage, they are number 1 in the league, 28.7 points per game. So if they're limiting him from 3, that's not going to bode well for Cam Whitmore in this game. It may be a little bit better for an Amon Thompson or somebody else that's driving inside for them to have better defensive luck. I opened it up to the last 5 games. Last 5 games, Indiana's still 5th at 34.1% in terms of defending the 3-point line. So maybe over the next few games, this is a really good game for Cam Whitmore. But if he's going to continue to take all these outside jump shots and Indiana is going to do really good defending the 3 like they've been the past few games, then he may not be the play for the day, but the play for another day.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. Indiana's second. They allow the second best field goal percentage in the NBA, and they are the best 3-point defending team in the NBA as well. Make sense of that. Good luck.
Yeah.
Let's move on to power forward. We got some comments here. Welcome all. Dreaming winning cash today. I'm not dreaming, Dwayne. We're living winning cash today. We're not dreaming about it. And then
Dreams do come true. Dreams
dreams
come
do come
true today.
true. Yo, Crackerjack. Great to meet you, new dude. His name is on the screen. It's on the screen. It says it right there. Terrell, right there.
And unfortunately, my lighting is bad right now, so it's the only thing you can see.
Anthony, late night hammer, SGA, Giannis, or Durant. What do we? Well, the Giannis Durant, that's not on the DraftKings main slate, so SGA by default there. I will say, if Dame is out, it's probably the answer is probably Giannis. If you're playing a,
I mean, this might be Giannis even if Dame's playing.
if it might be Giannis regardless. The answer is probably Giannis regardless. But obviously, it just solidifies it. And roly poly, we're gonna pivot to power forward right now, and we'll just start with Jabari Smith. We'll circle back to the top of the position because I agree. There's clearly something going on with Jabari Smith Jr. right now. This is the worst stretch of his career, his young career. This is, I mean, it's a little concerning, but $5,200 is obviously an elite price for Jabari Smith. Face value, regular version of Jabari Smith. The matchup is elite against Indiana. The pace is elite against Indiana. There's no Tari Eason, no Fred VanVleet. What do you make of Jabari Smith tonight? Because $5,200, that's not a normal price tag. I mean, this is a guy we've seen all the way up in the mid sevens, high sevens this year because of how good he was.
It's more of he's got to find a way to get to his spot and just continuously go out here and try to score the basketball. That's really what the issue is. And so he's not getting the opportunity. 3 points, 11 points, 0 points in the last 3 games. He had a couple of good games before that. And that's kind of where you're hoping he kind of falls in at, because whenever his shot is going, whenever he's able to get the attempts up, then he plays well. But if you're sitting there and he's got maybe 7, 8, 9 shots to work with for the entirety of the whole game, he doesn't necessarily get himself into a rhythm, especially when it goes into shooting the ball on the outside. He normally gets into a lot better of a rhythm with the more attempts he gets on the outside. And so now you have a tough matchup on the outside. He really, really should dominate the inside of the game. And I thought about playing him. It's just the concern of, I've seen this guy play so bad for the past few games. But I think that his matchup inside the paint, he should have little to no resistance inside the paint. He should be able to rebound. This should be a double-double game for him and Alperen Sengun relatively easily, because we know Miles Turner is going to go out there and do one thing. He's going to shot block. He's not going to rebound. So he may get the initial block, but then he's going to let the other team get the rebound. So I think that this is a really, really good spot for Jabari Smith to kind of stat pad the points and rebounds here. But if he doesn't get going on his shot and he's not shooting the ball consistently, he has to be in double-digit attempts for me here for it to be worth it. And I mean, he should get there because Fred VanVleet takes 20 attempts a game. So now you have 20 extra attempts out there for people to shoot the ball. So yeah, Jabari Smith really should have a good game today, but I'd be nervous like other people would be too.
MD, I'm not going to flash your comment, but please don't be an asshole coming into our chat. That's disrespectful towards John. John had some technical issues. He'll be back soon, but please be respectful to the hosts and everyone in the show. Let's circle back to the top of the position. Is there anyone that stands out? I kind of profiled in today's NBA DFS playbook over at fantasyalarm.com, which you guys can go check out with your All-Pro subscription today. I profiled Karl-Anthony Towns. I love the 3-point volume from Towns this year. I also love the matchup for 3-point shooters in general. The Bulls allow the most 3-point shots per game made to opposing teams. Not that Towns is like every night giving you like 10 threes, but in that 62-point game, 15 threes, the game after that, 10 attempts. Like, this is a guy who can get up to double-digit 3-point attempts in a given night. Coming off an all-star bid here. They blew out Houston. There was a little foul trouble. They didn't need to extend them. I think this is a pretty good bounce back spot for Karl-Anthony Towns tonight.
Yeah, I think that it could potentially be, and just more of the matchup. And it's a tough matchup here for the Bulls and having to match up with both Towns and Rudy Gobert. Like, I think that's going to be tough. And I think that, I was actually on another big in that game, Vucevic. I think Vucevic can have a pretty solid game here. Vucevic has hit multiple threes in multiple games against this Minnesota team because they continuously draw Rudy Gobert outside the paint and use him like that. They allow him to go to work and to open up his post game against Rudy Gobert, where if there was a lull in Rudy Gobert's game, he loves when the smaller guards try him at the rim when he can go and shot block like that. A little bit more difficulty when you're getting people that are your size and they're going to work on you in the post, hitting hook shots, and just open up the bag that Vucevic can, and not having to be at the rim to be able to score. He can shoot over you and play pretty well like that. So I like Vucevic and Karl Anthony Towns today. I think both of them can have really good games.
I can't wait till Billy Donovan runs the Vucevic Andre Drummond lineup. It's my favorite lineup. As a Bulls fan, it's the best lineup ever because it's the worst time anyone could ever have as a Bulls fan. What about the rest of the power forward position? Like, is there anything that stands out? Precious Achiuwa potentially going to play big minutes. We don't know anything on the Memphis front, so there could be potential plays there. I think there's a couple values that stood out, and mostly I know I don't I don't get excited to play Royce O'Neal ever. I don't think many people get excited to play Royce O'Neal, but it's just one of those situations where you look at the Brooklyn wing room tonight and front court room, no Cam Johnson, no Dorian Finney-Smith, Lonnie Walker is out. Those are three guys that play somewhere from 20 to 35 minutes a night. Royce O'Neal had a good night last night. Seems just the most likely to just step into the Dorian Finney-Smith's and / Cam Johnson starting role. What do you make of Royce O'Neal at 4,100?
I think it's a good play. And Royce O'Neal's always been that random person that I'm like, one day Royce O'Neal's going to get a triple-double, and I'm going to be really, really pissed about it because they're not going to offer the lines. And he does it. It feels like once every season. Like he's sitting there and it's like he's flirting with a triple-double. He's like, oh, I'm doing all this stuff. And so I think that I would have felt a lot better. And I would feel a lot better if I had more of an indication of what the rotation is going to be at Royce O'Neal, because I don't want Royce O'Neal if he's going to be on the floor with Ben Simmons the entire time. Yeah. That's what I don't want. I prefer if we were getting Royce O'Neal where he's the person, the second ball handler, he's running the offense and doing all that. If he's fighting with Ben Simmons for minutes in terms of who's handling the ball and who's doing all that, Ben Simmons is going to win every single time, and that's going to ruin some of Royce O'Neal's usage. But for the most part, I think Royce O'Neal is a good play, like a really good solid play, low option that if you're paying up salary for a Şengün today, then Royce O'Neal is a good way to come back on that lineup and be able to have a very cheap option that'll give you some good usage.
My expectation, and I guess we haven't officially had a lineup come out for Brooklyn yet, and my expectation is he just slides into the starting lineup for Cam Johnson. And last night's starting lineup was Dinwiddie, Thomas, Bridges, Johnson, and Claxton. I assume it's just O'Neal, and they have Simmons come off the bench. That would be my assumption. Yeah. Eventually working towards, especially with the trade deadline on Thursday, if Dinwiddie's dealt, or if Dennis, whatever, there's going to be a starting position for Simmons when his minutes start to get escalated. So I like O'Neal quite a bit at 4,100. I don't think there's much else. I would give a slight hat tip to Aaron Wiggins if Jalen Williams were to sit, and if someone like Cason Wallace were to sit. 33 minutes for Aaron Wiggins. Dude, he's shooting 51% from three this year. Shout out to Aaron Wiggins for completely being, I'll say it, the better Wiggins this year. Just gonna say that this year. He's the best Wiggins in the NBA this year. Let's finish it up with a few minutes to spare down here. Let's finish it up at the center position, where the aforementioned Alperen Şengün resides. What's your expectation for Şengün tonight?
I don't know how you don't start him. I have no idea how you don't start him. It's so chalk. He's such a chalky option. I have no idea how you don't start him though. He's so good inside the paint. Indiana struggles inside the paint. One of the bottom 5 teams inside the paint in the past 5 games, past 3 games, doesn't matter. They can't stop anything from inside the paint. He gets to the line. He's able to score, rebound. He could assist. And if we were sitting here talking about Şengün triple-double at the end of the game, would anybody really, really be surprised by that? I don't think so. He does it all. And so I don't know how you don't play him. I hate the chalk most expensive options on the board, but I just have no idea how you don't play Albert Shingun.
So we're talking about triple doubles, right? The last time Fred VanVleet sat 121 against Boston. Guess what happened? Triple
Shingun
double.
have triple double. Yep,
He
he's
triple
good, man.
doubled.
He's
He is
good, man.
and they use him as the hub for their offense with or without Fred VanVleet. That's just elevated even more with VanVleet out. Everything funnels through Alperen Şengün. Couldn't agree more. He's one of the top spends of the day. You mentioned liking Nikola Vucevic at 7-7. We have Chet 7-5, Claxton 7-1. I think Rudy Gobert is kind of interesting, 6,900. He is very randomly good, very randomly like suddenly foul trouble. We're not going to play full complement minutes. I think he's good. What else do we like at center tonight other than Şengün and Vooch?
I'll take you a little bit further down in that same game, and Naz Reid. I think Naz Reid could be very good for them coming off of the bench, just able to add another level of scoring. I think that the offense for Minnesota is going to struggle today, especially waiting on the final Caruso news. I don't think we've gotten final Caruso news yet, but if Caruso plays, that defense is way better than for Chicago, like in every metric, night and day difference when Caruso's in the lineup and out the lineup. And so if he's in the lineup, I think that it's going to open things up on the inside of the paint a little bit more. They're going to need the scoring to come off of the bench some. And Naz Reid is able to do that. And you're looking at the backup options. This Bulls team is kind of beat up right now. The backup options, Andre Drummond, not really concerned about him on a defensive stopping, Naz Reid's standpoint. Maybe he'll still rebounds, but I think Naz Reid could be good for some 15-7, 15-6 or something like that. And that's some pretty solid production coming off the bench.
Yeah, he's a really solid price tag too. I'm a big Naz Reid. Like, I have 4,300 left. Let's play Naz Reid kind of guy because he has a serious ceiling because he unfortunately signed an extension with a team that has two bigs, and he could be starting pretty much on any other team in the NBA if he weren't on the team that he's on. So I also love Naz Reid 43. I don't think there's much else. I've been a Jalen Smith guy for quite a while. If he plays, I'm really certain Miles Turner, you talked about one thing for certain that Miles Turner does, and it's block shots. Well, two things for certain Miles Turner does is I'll add to that is get in foul trouble in tough matchups. Şengün is going to put him in a blender. And we've seen Jalen Smith operate as the backup center since they made the Pascal Siakam trade. He has had a really high ceiling of late, three games over 30 fantasy points, and two of them have come off the bench. So small hat tip to a $4,700 Jalen Smith as well. Kelly Olynyk's there, 4,200. We don't know what Memphis. Would you like let's say, just to say it, Jaren Jackson's, he's doubtful, so he's all but out. Xavier Tillman, he's all but out. Let's just, for argument's sake, say Santi Aldama is out as well. Would you consider a Trey Jemison at $4,000? Got the start the other day against Boston, got in quick foul trouble, was absolutely terrible during his 23 minutes. Or a Matt Hurt who played 30 minutes in that Boston game, missed all his threes. He was a 50% shooter from three in the G League. Would you consider either of them in DFS?
Not really. I'm not really interested. I don't want to get that crazy. I'm not interested in getting that crazy and just taking a chance on guys. I just haven't seen it do it on this level of basketball. Like, I would feel better with somebody that I know can compete. And in this, like, if it was a smaller slate, then yeah, maybe I'd be more interested in a smaller slate. But it's 6 games we have to pick from here. I can find better options.
Cracker Jack is commenting back that he knows your name now. Congrats, Cracker Jack.
Appreciate it.
I'm glad that you figured that one out. And is Amen Thompson a good play on DraftKings today? Yep, I would say that we both.
We love Amen today.
Yeah, we spent some good time on Amen Thompson, and then our boy DePrince here, Şengün over Gobert. I think we're both
every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I think we're both in agreement. Alperen Şengün over Rudy Gobert. Also, pretty big price tier. I know DePrince. I know that's probably a FanDuel question because you're a FanDuel player. But yeah, Alperen Şengün, regardless of slate. 602. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? We have had, I'm surprised, the news cycle that we got on this show for the last hour was Benedict Mathurin. Okay, he was out. Great. Ochai Agbaji was ruled out. Like, that's this other biggest piece of news that we got. I'm kind of surprised because, like, we're an hour away from lock. Okay. Well, we're getting Dallas news right on cue. Kyrie Irving, in. Maxi Kleba, in.
Okay.
Luka Doncic, game time decision, because we can't have nice things, and they have to extend this.
And we have to put lineups in like right before his tip because we don't know who's playing.
Yep, and of course that's not a 7:00 game. That's a 7:30 game, so we will not know prior to lock. So, as we always say before we sign off, please stay attention to the news, stay hip to the news. Come in to the Fantasy Alarm Discord where we have a channel updating live with who's in, with who's out, late scratches, those that are playing, those that are not. We have that. We are also updating it in our regular NBA channel as well, that you'll see the likes of me, soon to be Terrell, John and Pemba, Dylan Clemens, all commenting all day long. Cracker Jack in there, cracking jokes, not knowing people's names in there either. So anything you need for this NBA DFS slate, we have going on at fantasyalarm.com. Everyone, big shout to Terrell today for making his debut on the show.
Appreciate it.
Lived up to the hype. I'm glad, I'm glad we made this deal 2 days before the deadline. This was a championship winning deal right before the trade deadline. Could not be happier to have you a part of the team. Me and John and Pemba, I think, as long as his power comes back, we'll be back tomorrow morning with the preview show, and then for the Wednesday live stream, which again will be airing at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cracker Jack blowing a kiss right before we depart. For Terrell,